Do you want your first AI client this week? I'll show you the exact steps to land your first or next AI client lightning fast, even if you're just getting started. So super short credibility about me. My name is Scott Bartnick. I'm the owner of Auto PR, a 2x Inc. 5000 CEO for the fastest growing privately owned business. So I really do know how to get clients. Now I'm gonna walk you through a presentation slide by slide, but really I'm gonna keep it really simple, from curating the actual service you're gonna do down to how to get that client, down to how to fulfill that service. So the first thing we really have to do is pick the service we're going to provide. So we mentioned that we want to do AI, and the reason why we're talking AI is because it's trending. People are looking for this, and for the next several years, people are going to have to learn how to implement it, and the tools are consistently changing. So it's really easy to become that consultant or expert. Now, one of the things that I found that most businesses need right away is people answering the actual phones. So these ring all the time, and anytime you do not answer it and provide the right answers, then you potentially will lose a lead. So speed to lead is a big thing here. And so what we can do is take an AI voice answering system that can answer questions, book calls, help people actually make sales and understand FAQs, and can have a natural conversation to the point where people barely realize it's AI. And some people don't, especially if they're international or foreign language. It really does a good job and can be bilingual and do all of these great things. So this is a tool that is in demand right now. So we want to find an AI service that's just in demand, and it's fairly simple to set up with one or two softwares. So the next thing we want to do is choose our niche and price point. The reason why this is important is because if you want to focus on enterprise, it's going to be way different than your local paint shop down the store or a chiropractor. So the more you niche down, the easier it is going to be to start. So figuring out, you want to do potentially local businesses, you want to do a price point of maybe $2,000 a month with a retainer of $100 to $500 a month. So that limits maybe where you're going to target, because obviously you can still run this service for enterprise, but it's going to be a much higher level of service. So let's focus on those. And then I like the idea of dentist office, chiropractors, people where the phones are ringing, they have to schedule, but if they don't pick up, they especially if they have a lot of new traffic coming in, they might lose that lead or that client. So I actually set this up for a child development diagnostic center in Orlando, Florida, and they were not picking up their phone. So it was going to voicemail and people were leaving message and no one was getting a call back. They were actually starting to get bad reviews because no one was getting a call back. And obviously these people couldn't book a call. So it made a really big impact for them, and it was really simple to do. And I think by picking this niche, you're going to understand how to curate your landing page and your service better. So the next thing you need to do is figure out how you're going to actually implement the software. So you have to have an idea of what the features are that you're selling. So I wouldn't try to create your own software from scratch. I would go find something that's already doing a really good job. Personally, for this example, I'm using GoHighLevel. The reason why I like it is because there's a whole bunch of white label options inside of it. So you can scale this into a chat bot, and you can scale it into a full CRM, and you can do calendar appointments, and you can integrate all of that, and you can upcharge for every little piece of it. So it's really, this one thing is the kind of pyramid or the top that's going to help you build an entire business right into GoHighLevel. Another example would be VoiceFlow is a good one if they don't want to change CRMs. So now, before you spend too much money and time learning how to build a landing page, redesigning it, creating content, doing all these things, you can really start off with cold email at a very small level, find a targeted niche, or start making phone calls yourself and find people who are interested in this service and sell it without any marketing. You maybe have one example, make it for yourself, and then start executing. So for this, I like using Instantly or Apollo for leads. And what I do is I go in there, I do filters. I do have a full course down below if you guys are interested on how to actually build this agency. But what we're going to do is, and I can show you examples later, we'll create a lead list through these tools, again, Apollo or Instantly. And I do have affiliate links down below. So then it's important, as we're making these lists, that we really filter, like we said before, if we pick that niche. So we want to get super local and we want to get as specific as possible. So if we're going to do a specific campaign, let's use chiropractors, for example, and I'm in Florida. So let's just say I want to hit every chiropractor in the Miami area. And I'm going to focus on that because not only can I help them, but as I'm launching my service, I can show up to their door and walk them through different pieces of it, which is a huge value versus a digital marketer who might be somewhere across the world. You can actually show them, help them, especially one of the hardest things with this is not actually setting it up, but change management. Teaching their team how to use the tools on the back end is one of the harder things that you can do with videos. But if you have an older clientele, they don't want to learn. And those are the people who need this service the most. So the next thing we need to do is actually send that outreach. So cold email is one of the best ways to do that. I recommend instantly. Again, I'll have a referral link down below. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that lead list that we got from Apollo or instantly. We're going to upload this and we're going to create a email campaign. I do have other videos on this for free, or you can subscribe to my course down below. What we're going to do is really curate an enticing offer. So something simple. I have an example here that just says, I tried to call your business and no one picked up. So obviously that's not the entire email, but we really want to keep that first email as something super simple like missed call or can't get in touch or been trying to reach you. As silly as that sounds, we're just curating that conversation. And then on an example, you can actually call their business, especially if it really doesn't ring, and you can test it before you get on a sales call with them and be like, hey, I called, no one actually picked up. So these are things that we can simply solve and prove. And what it does is, as we sell this, we can give them 24 hours. So even if they do have someone during the day, they probably don't have someone at night. They maybe use an answering service, but usually answering services can't answer questions, they can't schedule for you, and they can't book paid clients, although the voice chat can. And then the best thing about this is you can show true ROI for businesses that take appointments, because you can either schedule appointments for them or you can actually take payments. So you're really winning here with this service and showing that clear ROI. So now step 6 is a little bit of a bonus, because you really don't need a landing page to sell your first product, especially if you have a good Instagram or a good YouTube or any kind of social media platform, or just a good example. So if you have a landing page that's more of an example, or for this specific one, you could literally give them a phone number and say, hey, call this number, see what it does. So there's a lot of ways to sell this one. But the next step, as you start curating more traffic, doing YouTube videos, doing social media, or just have a whole bunch of interest coming in from email marketing as you start scaling that up, you are going to want that landing page where someone can come in, they can have a demo call, they can see a video explaining the service, and they can either book a consultation or directly pay. Obviously, it would be better, especially at that lower ticket, to find a spot where you can maybe get them to sign up right away. And you can use things like guarantees, like, hey, we guarantee we can get this set up and running in 7 days or your money back. So you make it really simple. You allow them to pay credit cards so that way they know it's safer. Things like that will allow you to make this really transactional, but allow you to scale quickly. Now, sales might be one of the hardest things for some people. Some people love sales. Personally, I'm pretty good at sales. So that phone call is, as you're trying to talk them through the service, don't focus so much on how you're solving that problem, like what the tools are, what the process is, what the AI is. Really focus on the problem you're solving. So you're answering the phone, you're getting more leads, you're helping them book appointments with the tools they currently use. You're recording all those calls so that someone can go in and then screen them. If you're using GoHighLevel, you're building a pipeline of leads for them to follow back up with, and you're helping them grow their business. I can systematically prove that I brought in more leads to agencies and businesses with this system, because every lead is tracked in that you're getting the first name, the last name, the email, the phone number, and then if possible, you're scheduling them, making them purchase, but you're allowing the team to also follow up. And in a more advanced version, which you could charge more for, maybe $10,000, you can set up all these automatic follow-ups. You're adding a lot of value and really helping them get the most out of every single call and lead that's coming in. So congratulations, you've made your first sale. Now, how do we actually fulfill this process? You want to stay super organized, because up until this point, we're trying to systemize this for growth. You want to have an onboarding form, and you can do that in GoHighLevel. Everything you do, I recommend GoHighLevel. Again, affiliate link down below. But this onboarding form will help us answer all the questions we need to actually go build that. So ideally, you don't even really need an onboarding call if they fill out this correctly. I would recommend to personalize it, because that gives you an opportunity to upsell. What we do is we make that sale. It automatically redirects them to do their onboarding form. They do an onboarding form. They try to get as detailed as possible, get FAQs, things like that, links to the website. Some clients don't really have that. If you have a small team, 1 or 2 people fulfilling it, I would automatically send them next to a calendar link so they can book that onboarding call. Once they book that onboarding call, you ask any additional questions. I recommend you record that, so then you can use the recording to actually build out some of these scripts that you need for the phone system. Quickly build that out, and you can actually have them running in less than 7 days. So it's really powerful, especially if you systemize it. And you could just let them know, hey, we don't start until after the onboarding call. So you do have, once we have the onboarding call, it's 7 days from there. So you're giving yourself a little bit more time, and you're putting that pressure on them until you get all of the information, whatever that looks like. But this allows you to systemize and scale this, even to the point where you can pretty much automate that onboarding call if you wanted. I don't recommend that, because we're going to try to build relationships and try to build an agency that can really scale and provide other services as well. So like I said, the next step is really just going live. You guys can read through this, but really the goal here is once you're done, do a really good job, test it, make sure to provide them training and onboarding. So you can do that through videos, YouTube, Loom, whatever you want. And then once you see them starting to get some traction, because if you're using GoHighLevel, you'll be able to see some calls coming in. I would recommend for the first 2 or 3 weeks that you're actually having someone from your team listen to calls, make sure they're going well, give them feedback, optimize the scripts, and then ask for a referral or ask for the next step of the business. So you could specifically in this funnel, you could say, hey, so we built this. Would you like me to automate the follow-up? And would you like me to put it into a CRM for you? And would you like me to stage all that out so you can capture more of these leads? So you can do that very cheaply with snapshots in GoHighLevel, and you can just implement them, especially if you're doing chiropractors all over the place. You can spend a whole bunch of time building one. And then from there, you never really have to build it again. You just implement it, especially with parameters. So doing that, asking for those referrals, upselling throughout the process, building in other AI things like knowledge bases are really powerful. And after you get that initial business, as long as you could do a good job, they're going to want to work with you more because there are so many ways to implement AI into businesses today. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. The next step is to take action. I do have a bunch of materials on my YouTube free and some affiliate links down below. Make sure to subscribe and just start somewhere. I would start at the beginning of this, watch each step, find my other YouTube videos, figure out how to do each step. And if you guys have specific questions on how to do a step, just leave it in the comments and I'll make a new video for you. Thank you.